Where did life on Earth begin? Here, on the ocean bottom, it is more than 1,000 meters deep. A mysterious tower rises out of the darkness. A closer look reveals what appears to be a plume of smoke gushing out from the top. In fact, it's a fluid that's surprisingly hot. Some parts of the deep ocean floor spew out hot fluids. These outlets are called hydrothermal vents. The first form of life on Earth, our ancient ancestor, emerged from one of these vents. Who could believe that all of us come from a place like this, at the bottom of the ocean? But evidence supporting the theory is coming together, piece by piece. This is one of the world's largest mines.
The minerals mined here are the products of hot spring water flowing under the ocean bottom.
The hot water-derived minerals include such valuable metals as copper, zinc, gold, silver, and rare metals. Surprisingly, scientists say life would not have arisen had it not been for these metals.
We have finding the mineral deposits to maintain the manufacturing industries of developing nations in the world, and then we have understanding the origins of life. And if you could do all of that on a hydrothermal field, that's kind of interesting.
Last year, a major deep-sea probe was conducted in Japan. The research team drilled a 1,000-meter deep ocean bed strewn with hot spring vents in a bid to determine how life came into being. Deadly gas and many other challenges hampered the probe. But it paid off with a series of discoveries that surprised even the researchers.
Here's something.
For the first time, proof of life has been found in an earth layer deep under the sea floor.
Looking at the Earth today, there is a massive variety of life inhabiting the planet. Once you realize that, it is quite natural for you to want to know how all these life forms originated.
How did life on Earth arise and begin to thrive? Joining the most ambitious deep-sea probe ever undertaken, we close in on the answer. In September 2010, a team of researchers conducted a large-scale deep-sea probe off Okinawa, southwestern Japan. They were on board the deep-sea drilling vessel Chikyu. Joining them was the marine research vessel Natsushima, equipped with a seafloor probe submarine. These two ships are the platform for an unprecedented mission. No less than 24 countries took part in this international project, sending biologists and mineralogists. Leading the expedition is biologist Ken Takai of the Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology.
I'm very happy to be here. So many people say to me, oh, it's your dream come true. But it's not come true. It's just a start point. Direct improvement.
The objective of the research is to survey below the sea floor to unravel the mysteries of the birth of life.
And the biogeochemical interactions between the subsea.
The investigators will stay on this vessel during the month-long expedition.
For safe and successful completion of Okinawa project. Okay, 1, 2, 3, down!
The probe site is an undersea basin called the Okinawa Trough, 200 kilometers northwest of the Okinawa mainland. A number of hydrothermal vents have been found here.
Wind up the winch.
What does a hot spring field look like? A remotely operated vehicle equipped with a camera is on its way to the ocean depths. Researchers monitor images sent from the submarine. "200 meters down, this place is out of reach of sunlight. Look, there's something over there. It's shimmering. It's a kind of comb jelly. The shimmering is the reflection of the submarine's light. "30 minutes into the dive, the sub finally reaches the seafloor at 1,400 meters deep.
The vehicle arrived at the bottom at 10:03 at a depth of 1,400 meters.
All around, the ocean floor is covered with sand and mud. There are no creatures to be seen. Let's move forward a bit. A rocky mound comes into view. Part of the rocks look white. A closer look reveals white creatures blanketing the surface. Called gallopide crab, these rare shellfish can only be found in the waters off Okinawa. There are other organisms living here. Living in the total darkness, these shrimp have no eyes. The seashells under the shrimp are a type of mussel. Why is this area teeming with so many creatures? Look no further than the top of the mound. Something is gushing out. The seawater is swirling. It's a hot spring vent. These creatures are living off the nutritional content of the heated fluid. This hydrothermal field is where the international team wants to probe. How hot is the fluid? The team uses its special thermometer. Amazingly, it is over 300 degrees Celsius. Water normally boils at 100 degrees Celsius, but the high pressure down here stops that happening. In recent years, primitive organisms have been found one after another near hydrothermal vents. Known as archaea, they are thought to have originated in the hot spring pathways underground. Based on this assumption, highly primitive life forms are believed to be thriving deep under the seabed. On this mission, researchers will use the drilling vessel Chikyu to explore underneath the seafloor for primitive life forms. In the middle of the ship stands a giant rig. Spearheading the operation is 18-year drilling veteran Tomokazu Sadahashi. For this expedition, he's prepared 40-meter-long drilling pipes.
Few people drill in this kind of place. I mean, volcanic soil and fields of hot spring vents.
We go to the top of the soaring tower. It's an incredible 120 meters high. That's as high as a 30-story building. Wow! Such a commanding view of the ocean. Right underneath the tower is a huge rectangular-shaped opening, through which the sea surface is visible. It's through this window that the drilling pipes are lowered. The shafts extended from the rig will be used to drill the seabed. The vessel is one of the few in the world that can sample earth layers thousands of meters below. We spot project leader Ken Takai on the ship's heliport. What motivated him to dig the hot spring field for primitive life?
いいですね。
It's nice. It feels good, doesn't it? We're feeling great out here in the sunlight. Why do we feel great when soaking up the sun? Because the memory of the sun sustaining our lives is embedded in our genes. All of the ecosystems on this planet are supported by solar energy. But our ancient ancestors didn't rely on the sun at all, but instead used chemical energy derived from the thermal energy from within the earth.
Here is what many scientists, including Takai, think the Earth was like 4 billion years ago. At that time, there was tremendous undersea volcanic activity. The atmosphere contained no oxygen. The Earth's surface was exposed to high levels of harmful ultraviolet rays and radiation from the sun. In such harsh conditions, there was only one place that scientists think could have sustained life: deep water, where the deadly rays could not reach. At the bottom of the sea, hydrothermal vents were everywhere. Researchers believe it was around the hot water that the first life form arose and thrived. This ancient environment continues to exist in the oxygenless underground field of hydrothermal fluid. Indeed, that's where Takai hopes to find life, in a habitat unchanged for 4 billion years. If successful, he thinks the research will help shed light on mysteries of how the common ancestor of all earthbound creatures came to life and how it lived. On September 8th, the Chikyu arrived at the site above the drilling point in the Okinawa Trough. Ahead of the drilling, researchers on board have been convened. They're being taught how to wear the gas mask.
Okay, bend forward. Breathe down very slowly. Okay, again.
Drilling an undersea hot spring field is a high-risk operation.
Very much.
The scientists are preparing themselves for a possible blowout of highly toxic hydrogen sulfide gas.
Okay. All right. Hydrogen sulfide is a very highly toxic gas. It is colorless, is heavier than air, and is an explosive gas. And at very high concentrations, it can kill a person in one breath. One breath. And the person will be dead in a few minutes.
Now the drilling is about to begin. A drilling pipe is coming down from the top of the rig. To reach the sea floor about 1,000 meters below, operators connect nearly 30 pipes, one by one, as they sink them into the water. Five hours into the operation, the lead pipe reaches the seabed. The depth reading is 1,090 meters. On the vessel, operators prepare a 9-meter-long tube called a core barrel. This will collect the samples of Earth beneath the sea floor. Workers insert the core barrel into the drill pipe. They will then retrieve the barrel containing the sediment samples. Reloading the barrel, the operators will drill down further to probe the layers below. By repeating this process, the team hopes to find primitive life forms in the hydrothermal pathways. A core barrel is being inserted into the pipe that has reached the sea bottom. Saruhashi gives the word, and the sampling probe is thrust into the seafloor. The barrel has penetrated the soil. But the operators do not pull it up immediately. Deadly hydrogen sulfide gas in the soil could rise up through the pipe. If toxic gas is present, the detector signals with an alarm and a red warning light. It's all clear. The operators begin hoisting the core barrel from 1,000 meters below. Near the rig are Takai and his colleagues, anxiously waiting for the core sample.
Is the barrel here yet?
I guess so, because they're wearing gas masks.
Is this the day you've been waiting for?
Sure it is. This is such a rare opportunity, so I'm very excited about it.
The first batch of the core sample has been delivered to the researchers. But the tube is almost empty. Core material was found only in the first 1.5 meters of the 9-meter-long probe. What happened? It turns out the barrel was clogged at the leading end. It takes a hammer to clear it out. Apparently, the probe jammed after hitting a hard layer. Researchers pick up the soil to take a closer look.
There are some minerals in the sediment of the hydrothermal fluid.
To reach a deeper layer, the team immediately began a second drilling. After boring through the hard layer, they pushed the core barrel into the part right below. Their probe was then pulled back up. Soon after, one of the workers comes to see Saruhashi, manager of the drilling operation.
It's quite hot. We might have hit hydrothermal fluids. The core barrel's temperature is about 50 degrees Celsius.
We'll cool it down with water.
The core barrel's surface had grown hotter. Water was applied to bring down the temperature.
It looks like we've reached a layer that's hotter than we expected. The barrel was about 50 degrees Celsius right after we pulled it up. It could be nearly 100 degrees down below.
Did the team access a layer with hydrothermal circulation? Expectation was running high. But then, it's an emergency. An engineer detected highly toxic hydrogen sulfide.
What's the reading?
Can't tell, it's beyond the measurement range.
That means over 200 ppm.
We'll work it out now. Anyone who's not wearing a mask, please stay outside this area.
It turns out the retrieved core contained a high concentration of hydrogen sulfide. "30 minutes later, the core was brought out.
I bet it's close to a hydrothermal layer.
A worker slices the core for analysis. The barrel is packed with sediment. The team carries the core samples to the ship's laboratory right away to study them. Inside, they find gray-colored, clay-like sediment, separated by empty spaces. The scientists lay out the core samples in proper order to see the whole picture. Pieces of sponge, labeled void, fill the spaces.
These gaps are where high-temperature liquids were flowing.
The voided areas mark passages of hydrothermal fluids. Takai and his team have obtained the sediment samples they have long been looking for. Drilling 35 meters below the seabed, the team located high-temperature fluids at 11 meters, 12 meters, and 20 meters down. The researchers will now study core samples from near the hydrothermal layers. In the ship's lab, analysis is underway to see if there are any life forms. In charge is Takuro Nunoura, a microbiologist. He takes out some of the sediment in special oxygen-free equipment. Then, he puts it in test tubes with a culture solution. If there are any living organisms, they'll multiply and cloud the solution. Nunoura decides to wait for a few days, after placing the tubes in incubators set at different temperatures.
Do you think it'll work?
Well, if there are microbes there, they'll grow. We'll just have to wait and see.
Will he find any life in a hydrothermal layer from under the sea floor? The day after culturing began, scientists were busy analyzing the core samples in the ship's research facility. Meanwhile, Nunoura was in the microbiology laboratory. It's only been a day since he set up the culturing tubes, but he's already getting anxious to find out the result. Are there any changes to the culture solution?
No signs of growth.
It's been a day or so?
Yeah, about a day and a half. I guess it's a bit too soon. If we had a large number of organisms, we would have had some growth going by now. I guess I should be patient and wait a few more days. As long as there are some microbes, they'll start growing and multiplying in a couple of days. We'll see.
It seems we need more time. While culturing was in progress, something was discovered that might have had a key role to play in the birth of life.
So white.
Let's go and have a look.
Junichiro Ishibashi of Kyushu University, who was studying the sediment samples, has something to show Takai. But what is it?
Here's something.
It's black rock.
It's in there.
Next to the gray sediment is a black layer. its surface are shiny silver particles. The layer is filled with black ore, a mineral that contains various metals like copper, zinc, gold, silver, and even rare metals.
There are mines in northeastern Japan where black ore with high concentrations of gold and silver are found from time to time. I'd heard of its existence under the seabed, but I'm glad to have discovered such a good, clean chunk of it like this.
The researchers are elated over the discovery of the mineral because it's said to have been the catalyst for the birth of life. What does that mean? A scientist is trying to figure out the role of minerals through experiments. He's Dr. Robert Hazen, a scientist at America's Carnegie Institution.
For deep carbon, we've been putting a lot of money in.
His research team conducts experiments with hot fluid and minerals with the aim of creating life. Here, a team member is putting ground minerals in a small capsule. Next, he injects a liquid that triggers generation of carbon dioxide and hydrogen and seals the container. Then, he places it in a high-temperature, high-pressure environment to simulate a hydrothermal layer deep under the ocean. Six hours later, he checks the content. The liquid inside has turned yellow. It seems something has been produced. A container without the mineral shows no change. The liquid remains clear. Analysis indicated the yellow fluid contained pyruvic acid, an organic substance that always exists in living cells.
Our research suggests that rocks and minerals played a huge role in the origin of life. They protected life by absorbing molecules onto their surface and making them more stable. They organized those molecules into patterns, into chains, perhaps polymers that are the basic building blocks of every cell.
Dr. Hazen believes that such chemical reactions occurred repeatedly near hydrothermal layers in the ocean floor 4 billion years ago, when life was first born on the Earth. Metal particles on minerals attract molecules of hydrogen and carbon dioxide in hydrothermal fluids. Then, the molecules are combined into organic matter like pyruvic acid. Further reactions turn the organic substances into amino acids, key building blocks of life. Dr. Hazen has also succeeded in generating round, cell-like membranes in his lab. Continual chemical reactions between hydrothermal fluids and minerals are thus believed to have given birth to life.
Were we inevitable? Is life part of the universe? Is it deterministic? Is it inevitable? Or is this a chance event that happened only once or very few times in the whole cosmos? We want to know this. My feeling is that it's going to be just a matter of time, maybe only 10 or 20 years, before we create life in a laboratory.
While Dr. Hazen tries to unlock the secret of life's birth through experiments, Takai and his team are aiming to do the same by finding the most primitive form of life under the ocean. Their voyage is now in its final stage. Nunoura is checking his cultures of hydrothermal sediment. Has he found any living organisms?
Well, no growth whatsoever.
The solution in over 200 test tubes all remained clear. None of them had turned cloudy white.
One thing I suspect is that the samples were simply too hot. Whatever microbes that could have been in there were probably not fit for easy culturing.
Nunoura couldn't find living matter in the ship's facility. He will continue with the analysis after he returns to his laboratory. However, the team has made an unexpected discovery. The scientists located huge deposits of black ore, including silver and rare metals. They're drawing much attention as a possible source of critical natural resources for Japan. June 2011, 8 months after the voyage. We visited Ken Takai of the Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology at his laboratory. Takai and Nunoura were continuing with their research to see if the core samples contained any remains or genes of organisms. Their efforts did bear some fruit. They discovered a part of a genetic chain. They analyzed it to see what kind of life form the piece of DNA belonged to. They found a peculiar genetic sequence. It's a signature combination for primitive archaea. The suspected owner of the genetic code is named HWCG4, one of the uncultivated lineage of archaea Takai has been looking for.
We think they are very ancient archaea that like a high-temperature environment. If we could have captured them alive from the bottom of the ocean, that would have been a breakthrough. but unfortunately, we haven't been able to do so or grow it in culture. We haven't given up, though.
The genetic sequence of the ancient archaea was found in 3 locations in the bottom of the ocean. The deepest point was 140 meters below the seabed. The researchers assume the microorganism exists widely along the hydrothermal paths. This marks the world's first discovery of a primitive life form in a hydrothermal layer under the sea floor.
HWCG4 lives in the lowest layer. The question now is what the archaea are doing down there.
In their next expedition, Takai and his colleagues are eager to capture the microbe alive to find out what it looks like and what it lives on. They want to uncover the mechanism that gave birth to myriads of life.
Unimaginable numbers of living creatures make up and sustain the Earth we live on. When we realize that, we want to find out how all this variety of life got started. I think that's a natural desire as humans. It's not an easy path, but we want to pursue it without giving up. That's the source of our drive for figuring out the origin of life.
The deep sea exploration took on the grand mystery that is the birth of life. Why is the Earth full of such a wide variety of life forms? Why are we here now on this planet? We've been able to get a little closer to life's origin. But our journey continues in search of a final answer.